Howdy folks, welcome to a close-up edition of the Aznable Guides. So, there is a reason we are focused this far in. One, so I can work effectively on top of the map, and two, so you guys can actually see what's going on. So this time, in the Aznable Guides, we're doing another 101 based off of things discussed in the last live stream. And the last time we were streaming, people brought up panel lining. Now, for some of you that don't know what panel lines are, is on your piece of gunpla, like this is an arm for the Master Grade Goof, you have these lines that run around. They add the different details and stuff like that to the piece. Later on, once you're out of, initially building, then you can start panel lining, which can be done with things like pens. This is a fine tip Sharpie. Let me clean it up, and as you can see, it really accents that line. So when you do it in an entire kit, it shows the separation of the different pieces of armor and paneling on single pieces of gear. Now, what we're actually covering is not panel lining, but panel line scribing. So how do you get panel lines like these on a piece that initially has no panel lines? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I have one piece for my current project kind of mocked up here. I went through and laid it out. I don't typically lay it out in marker, but it was really hard to see in the pencil that I usually lay it out in. So I did that so you folks on camera can see it. So what are we going to be using? I have this scriber. It's just a simple beveled hook. There you go. Simple hook. And that does rather fine lines. I also have the Tamiya panel line scriber. This one's very nice. It does a little bit thicker lines. The blade is a little bit thicker on it than the tip of the other one. I have a ruler. I have a pencil or a marker for marking it out. You're going to need a couple sanding utensils, hobby knife, and I use a caliber. Now I have a digital one, but for the sake of people wanting to get into learning how to do this, I picked this up from my local Harbor Freight for $1.99. It works just fine. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And dynamo tape. This is the hard plastic tape for a dynamo printing machine that you print labels and stuff on. Thicker, more rigid stuff, which comes in black or white, and then there's the really thin, soft stuff that I've only seen in white. You want the more rigid, firm, hard plastic stuff. Alrighty, so start out with, I have my two side skirts. Now as you can see, I've gone through on one, kind of marked out the design that I want, and now I'm going to transfer this design over to here. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to start out using my pencil and my ruler. So obviously I need to get a measurement of how far from the mark to the edge. There you go. Help if I did it on screen. Mark to the edge. Right at the third mark. Okay. So then, do the same thing here. The edge. Mark it with my pencil. See, there's kind of a mark there. Now I'm going to do the length of it. So that's right at 1. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, stop fidgeting with it, take this, line it up, go down and mark a 1. Right at the 1. So now I have the width and the distance that line needs to travel. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here and down closer to this mark, I'm going to add another right at the third tick. So then that way I know that this line goes all the way up. I usually freehand if it's curved like this. You're not going to get it perfect, but that's where the dynamo tape comes in. Okay. So we got that line there. Now the next one. So we're going to do this. We're going to measure from this edge here, where we got this first measurement. We measure down to this point using our ruler. That's a little over the 1 mark. There's 1 tick past. We're going to bring this down on this piece. Okay. Now for the distance of this, if you need to, mark on your ruler here. It'll wipe off. Get it lined up with your previous mark. Create your new one. So again, that's the distance we need to travel. Now we need the height on it. Right and a half. Some eraser marks. I like to get rid of my working lines once I'm done working with them, so it alleviates some of the confusion. Alright, so now you have your distance up, and you have your distance over, so then you can just hit that angle. Now this should be the same, just at the 3. And then height off the bottom. Four off the bevel. Okay. So now we got all of our marks. We go back and retrace this real quick, and alright, so there we go. Lines on this one are a little bit thicker with the pen. We can clean them up. But we got the same basic design. Transfer it over. Now we're ready for scribing. I'm going to do the scribing on this piece here because it's flatter, a little bit easier to work with and show you. Alrighty, so there's a couple ways of doing this. The way that I traditionally do it, I'll start out with that. I take my hobby knife and I will trace the lines of where I want them, just gently. And basically what this is doing is kind of creating a guideline for your chisel to sit into. we got that one done. Doesn't look like much there. Then I'll take this one, since it has a finer point. I'll usually start with that. And basically what I do is I just get it kind of lined up in the line, and you just gently drag it. You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on it. Just want to gently drag it. Basically what this is going to do is start that line a little bit thicker. Same with this one over here. Just get it lined up in your groove. And gently drag it. Don't worry if you get a little off the first go and you kind of scratch it up some. We're going to sand this all back down. So that way all you see is the panel lines. And just gently scratching. Nothing crazy. Not putting any pressure. I'm not digging it in. Just gently dragging. Alright, so now we got the guidelines a little bit better, and I want these thicker. I'm going to take my big Tamiya one. I'm going to do the same thing. Just gently drag. Not putting a lot of pressure. And I go both ways, so I drag it. When I drag it down, obviously you can see you get some of the blue plastic. But I do it back up too. And the reason behind that is because when you're going back up into this corner, where all three of the lines meet, it kind of helps build that sharpness of it. Get this on camera. It's a lot more difficult to do on camera. Alright, then we're going to get this last one here. And then something I like to do, since this is, we're looking at this as a separate little piece, I like to go down in this groove here, where you can see like right here, right where that is, and I pull it down through there too, just so it creates kind of a groove, so that way when you go and panel line it, it'll have kind of the effect that that's all the way through. Being assaulted by a cat on my feet. Alright, so now that that is done, and you can see it's kind of scratch up, kind of nasty looking. Take your sanding. You can see, kind of see where the panel lines fill in. That's just dust that'll get wiped out. If nothing else, take a toothbrush. You can kind of scrub it out. And this will show you kind of where your panel lines are. What it'll also do is when it'll show kind of any extra scratches or places where maybe your panel liner or your scribing tool got off. Alright, so zoom. You can see there's still a little bit of cleanup to do, but our panel lines are there. Get it cleaned out a little bit. There we are. That's just that black dot's ink back there. But now, if you are doing a little bit deeper panel lines, you really want to clean them up, what you can do is take some sanding paper. I just cut a little tiny section off, like that. And then I take my super duper pointy tweezers. You can go back through and kind of sand them. It helps kind of clean up the edges. You don't have to do this. It depends on how deep your panel lines are, really. At least in my experience. Yeah, there we are. One set of panel lining done. Now on this side, I'm going to show you guys a separate technique. So what I just showed you guys is the way I typically do it. There's another way you can do this, and that is using dynamo tape, like I said. So basically what you do is, like, we're going to start with this line and this line here. So I'm going to cut a piece of dynamo tape. Short little piece, pull the back of it off. And we're going to take the dynamo tape. We're going to line, right with that edge that we want. Okay, so you can still kind of see the black marker. Really push it down. Okay, so there's that line covered. And we need one more short piece. Alright, we're going to do the same thing. Cut it down a little bit. Sometimes it gets tricky trying to get it into places that are tight. Alright, so even smaller piece. Basically just going to line it right up with that one right there on the edge. Push it down. So as you can see, the dynamo tape kind of gives the shape of the panel line we're trying to work with. And basically what this allows you to do is then you take your handy dandy, come off there. There we go. Alright, take your scriber. You do the same thing. You start in this corner. You just run it down along the side of the edge of the tape. Hardly any pressure at all. Just keep running down the side of the tape. The tape basically acts as a guide and prevents you from scratching up and tearing up everything on the side. I started out doing it this way, and then after having a kit where I added a couple dozen panel lines, I got sick of cutting all the tape. So I just started doing it freehand. Alright, take that off, and voila, panel lines. Alright, hit this corner again. Alright, old dynamo tape. Doesn't want to stick to plastic no more. So now we're going to get some more dynamo. Dynamo, dynamo. That's just fun to say. Alright. So I'm going to cut this one down 2 pieces. I stick one of them at the end of where we want this to stop. So that's where we're stopping. There we go. The other one is going to go down the side to act as a guide again. Fidgety. Get it kind of lined up. Okay. And again, just gently. You don't need a whole lot of pressure with these things. If you do, you're going to really gouge the plastic, and you don't have a nice smooth panel line. It's kind of rugged and jagged. You might not be able to tell at first, but you can definitely tell after you paint or if you add some panel lining accent to it. Definitely notice it then. Okay, there we go. We get a little bit farther back on this. So one thing I like about this tool, as opposed to this one, is it has a smaller, finer point. You can really kind of get right up next to the piece if there's edges and stuff like this. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sand this, clean it up a bit. If you go back and clean it up, realize your lines aren't as thick. Like you can see here, I kind of screwed up. That's not matching up with that. That's an easy fix. Fill it with a little putty. Rescribe the line over there. There you go. A little bit better. Alright, so there we are. Sand this real quick, kind of fill it in so you guys can see. There you go. There's your panel lines. Panel lines have been added. Now you just got, like I said, clean it up. You can go back in with a little bit of sandpaper, kind of file it all down, and that's how we do it. It's rather simple. It just takes time and patience. Make sure not to go too fast, and then spending time actually laying out your lines, so that way they're where you want them to be, and they're nice, straight, solid. Yeah, that's what you're shooting for. But there we are. There was the transferring of one design to another piece, the actual using of the tools. So this is the Tamiya Scriber. This is just one that I picked up from my local hobby shop. Not sure exactly what brand it is off my head. Maybe I could see this. Nope, just says Pakistan. It's obviously from Pakistan, so yeah. But yeah, that'll be it, boys and girls. If we have any more questions, please comment down below, or join us on the live streams, which we do every Sunday night at 8 p.m. CST over on Twitch. Yeah, come hang out. Right now we are doing the beginner's guide, so just kind of out of box build, little tips and tricks to make your stuff look phenomenal. But yeah, thanks again, boys and girls. Everyone have a good day, and remember, build on. Build on.